Welcome to Rising Path. Before we begin, thank you to all the new subscribers joining the channel. I also really appreciate the positive feedback on the recent videos and private consultations. It means a lot, and I'm glad this work is helping people understand themselves and their charts more deeply. In this video, we're beginning a new series on the North Node in the signs. The North Node is one of the most important points in astrology because it speaks to direction. Not the path that feels easy or familiar, but the path that stretches us into a fuller version of ourselves. The North Node is not a planet. It is a point where the path of the moon crosses the path of the sun. But symbolically, it carries deep meaning. It shows where we are being pulled forward. It describes the qualities we are learning to develop, the patterns we are invited to outgrow, and the life experiences that help us become more conscious and complete. This is why the North Node is often connected with destiny. But destiny does not mean everything is fixed. The North Node is more like a compass. It points towards something important, but we still have to choose how we respond. And often, it does not feel natural at first. It may feel unfamiliar, awkward, or uncomfortable. It can ask us to speak up, soften, trust, take action, or step into new territory before we feel fully ready. That discomfort is not a mistake. It is part of the growth. To understand the North Node, we also have to understand the South Node. These 2 points sit opposite each other in the birth chart, forming an axis of familiarity and evolution. The South Node shows what feels known. It can describe old strengths, instincts, habits, and comfort zones. It is not bad, and it is not something we need to reject. But it can become a place where we stay too long. The South Node is what we know how to do. The North Node is what helps us evolve. So the deeper work is integration. We take the wisdom of the South Node, but we do not let it run the entire story. The North Node asks us to carry that wisdom into new territory. That is where the sign becomes important. The sign of the North Node shows the style of growth. It reveals the energy we are here to practice, embody, and slowly trust. At first, the North Node can feel like a foreign language. Later, it starts to feel like truth. So in this series, we are going to explore the North Node through each zodiac sign, not as a simple personality label, not as a fixed prediction, but as a symbolic path of development. Each North Node sign reveals something about purpose, desire, fear, confidence, vulnerability, and the kind of growth that helps a person feel more aligned with their life. So let's begin the journey through the North Node in the signs and explore what this powerful placement reveals about growth, purpose, and the direction your soul is learning to walk. And if you want a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if you enjoy this series, don't forget to like and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Aries. North Node in Aries is the path of self-ownership. This is a soul learning how to trust itself, act from instinct, and stop waiting for approval before taking the next step. With the South Node in Libra, there is often a natural gift for understanding other people. This person may be charming, thoughtful, diplomatic, and very aware of what others need, expect, or feel. They may know how to keep the peace, smooth things over, and see both sides of a situation. But the challenge is that they can become so focused on harmony that they lose touch with their own desire. They may compromise before they have even admitted what they want. They may say yes to avoid tension, then feel resentful later. They may appear calm and agreeable on the outside while something inside them feels trapped, frustrated, or unseen. For North Node in Aries, the lesson is not to become selfish or harsh. It is to build a stronger inner center. This placement is learning how to say, "This is what I want," without turning every decision into a negotiation. It is learning that disagreement is not always a disaster, and disappointing someone does not automatically mean they have done something wrong. Aries teaches through action. So this person grows when they stop overthinking every possible reaction and begin trusting direct experience. They may need to make choices faster, speak more honestly, start things alone, or follow a path before everyone else understands it. At first, that can feel uncomfortable. South Node in Libra knows how to blend. North Node in Aries has to learn healthy separation, not coldness, not rejection, but the ability to say, I care about you, and I still have my own direction. This is one of the biggest lessons of the placement. Love should not require self-erasure. A relationship should not ask someone to disappear in order to keep everything smooth. Peace is not real peace if it is built on silence, resentment, or constant self-abandonment. There can also be an important lesson around anger. For this placement, anger may feel threatening because it disturbs the old pattern of politeness and balance. But healthy anger is not the same as cruelty. Sometimes it is a signal. It shows where a boundary has been crossed, where too much has been swallowed, or where the self is trying to come back to life. North Node in Aries needs experiences that build confidence from the inside. Physical movement, leadership, honest conversations, solo projects, competition, entrepreneurship, or brave personal choices can all help this person reconnect with their own fire. The South Node in Libra still brings gifts. Grace, fairness, social intelligence, and the ability to understand others are valuable. The problem begins only when those gifts become a hiding place. The Aries path says, keep your warmth, keep your ability to relate, but do not abandon yourself to be accepted. When this placement is lived unconsciously, the person may wait to be chosen instead of choosing. They may avoid standing alone, even when their life is clearly asking for more independence. They may confuse being loved with being easy to agree with. But as North Node in Aries awakens, the energy becomes clearer. Choices become cleaner. Relationships become more honest because they are no longer built on quiet resentment or hidden performance. This person learns that real connection is stronger than perfect harmony. At its highest expression, North Node in Aries is brave without being cruel, independent without being closed off, and honest without losing compassion. It is the soul learning that it can love others and still belong to itself. So if you have North Node in Aries, your growth comes from choosing courage over approval, action over overthinking, and self-trust over constant reassurance. You are not here to reject partnership. You are here to stop disappearing inside it. The more you honor your instincts, independence, honesty, and right to take up space, the more aligned you become with the life your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand North Node in Aries, like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Taurus. North Node in Taurus is the path of peace, self-worth, and inner stability. This is a soul learning how to stop living in survival mode and start building a life that feels grounded, steady, and truly nourishing. With the South Node in Scorpio, there is often a deep familiarity with intensity. This person may be used to emotional extremes, complicated bonds, crisis, secrecy, loss, power struggles, or situations that require them to stay alert. They may have strong instincts and a powerful ability to sense what is hidden beneath the surface. But the challenge is that intensity can start to feel normal. They may become so used to emotional chaos that peace feels suspicious. They may confuse passion with instability, depth with suffering, or transformation with always needing to burn everything down and begin again. For North Node in Taurus, the lesson is to stop measuring life by how intense it feels and begin trusting what is simple, solid, and real. This placement is not here to avoid depth. It is here to stop being consumed by it. Taurus teaches through the body, through patience, through the slow return to what is dependable. It asks this person to come back to the present moment instead of constantly scanning for danger, hidden motives, or emotional undercurrents. There is also a major lesson here around self-worth. South Node in Scorpio may be used to merging with others emotionally, financially, sexually, psychologically, or energetically. There can be a pattern of becoming entangled with people or situations that feel powerful, but draining. North Node in Taurus says, your value does not have to come from being needed, desired, tested, or transformed by someone else. Your worth is not proven by how much pain you can survive. It is something you build a relationship with quietly, consistently, and from within. This nodal path often asks for more simplicity, fewer emotional games, fewer power struggles, fewer relationships where love feels like obsession, loyalty feels like sacrifice, or closeness comes with constant fear. Taurus wants what is honest enough to touch: rest, food, nature, money handled wisely, a peaceful home, a body that feels safe, relationships that do not require constant decoding, work that produces something real. For this placement, calm can be medicine, but at first, calm may feel unfamiliar. The person may be tempted to return to intensity because it feels more alive. They may test people, overthink motives, hold on too tightly, or recreate drama simply because their nervous system recognizes it. The growth comes from learning that safety is not emptiness, peace is not a lack of passion, and ease does not mean something is missing. North Node in Taurus needs to develop patience. Scorpio knows how to survive crisis. Taurus knows how to build something that does not need to become a crisis in the first place. That may sound simple, but for this placement, consistency can be a spiritual practice. Choosing the same healthy habit again. Saving money instead of living in emotional emergency. Eating well. Sleeping enough. Walking away from the bond that keeps reopening the wound. The South Node in Scorpio still brings gifts. Emotional courage, intuition, depth, honesty, and the ability to transform are powerful strengths. But those gifts become painful when the person starts believing that life must always be dramatic to be meaningful. The Taurus path says, keep your depth, but do not drown in it. Keep your passion, but let it live inside something stable. When this placement is lived unconsciously, the person may chase intensity, cling to complicated relationships, or feel uncomfortable with ordinary happiness. They may be drawn to situations where there is always something to fix, expose, heal, or survive. But as North Node in Taurus awakens, life begins to soften. The person becomes more grounded, more self-possessed, and less available for emotional storms that lead nowhere. Their choices become simpler, but stronger. At its highest expression, North Node in Taurus is calm without being shallow, loyal without being trapped, sensual without being careless, and steady without being stagnant. It is the soul learning that a good life does not have to be dramatic to be powerful. So if you have North Node in Taurus, your growth comes from choosing peace over chaos, self-worth over dependency, and simplicity over constant crisis. You are not here to shut down your depth. You are here to give it roots. The more you honor your body, your values, your resources, your peace, and your right to live without constant emotional turbulence, the more aligned you become with the path your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand North Node in Taurus, like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Gemini. North Node in Gemini is the path of curiosity, communication, and mental flexibility. This is a soul learning how to stay open long enough to listen, question, experiment, and see life from more than one angle. With the South Node in Sagittarius, there may be a strong instinct to search for truth in a big, passionate, all-or-nothing way. This person may come into life with powerful beliefs, strong opinions, a love of freedom, and a natural hunger for meaning. They may be drawn to philosophy, spirituality, travel, teaching, justice, or anything that makes life feel larger. But the challenge is that certainty can become a comfort zone. They may be so used to looking for the big answer that they miss the small details. They may speak before listening, assume they already understand, or turn personal experience into universal truth. Sometimes they may feel restless with ordinary conversations, practical information, or viewpoints that seem too small compared to the grand vision they are chasing. North Node in Gemini asks them to come closer, closer to the moment, closer to the facts, closer to the conversation happening right in front of them. This placement is not here to lose wisdom. It is here to become more teachable. Gemini teaches through questions. It gathers pieces, notices patterns, changes its mind, and learns by staying engaged with life as it is unfolding. Instead of needing one final belief system to explain everything, this person grows by allowing many voices, ideas, and perspectives to exist at once. There is a major lesson here around listening, not just waiting for a turn to speak, not listening only to respond, correct, or preach, but really listening with interest, with humility, with the willingness to be surprised. For North Node in Gemini, communication becomes a spiritual practice. This person may need to learn how to explain what they know in a way others can actually receive. They may need to soften the delivery, ask better questions, and become more comfortable with "I'm not sure yet." That phrase can be powerful for this placement because it opens a door that certainty may have closed too quickly. The South Node in Sagittarius can bring beautiful gifts: vision, honesty, courage, humor, enthusiasm, and a deep desire to understand the meaning of life. But when overused, it can become blunt, impatient, opinionated, or detached from the details that make a situation real. Gemini says, do not just look at the horizon. Notice what is being said at the table. Do not only search for the truth. Learn how people think, speak, change, misunderstand, and connect. This nodal path often brings lessons through siblings, neighbors, classmates, writing, speaking, teaching, social media, short trips, local community, or everyday exchanges that seem ordinary but carry important information. The soul is learning that not every revelation arrives like lightning on a mountaintop. Sometimes it comes through a casual conversation, a book, a message, a question, or one sentence someone says at exactly the right time. North Node in Gemini also needs variety. When life becomes too rigid around one belief, one identity, or one correct way to live, the person may feel trapped without realizing why. Growth comes from letting the mind breathe, reading more widely, talking to different kinds of people, trying new skills, following curiosity without needing every interest to become a life mission. The danger is becoming so attached to being right that learning stops. This placement may have to watch the urge to lecture when a dialogue would be more useful. It may also need to release the idea that changing its mind is weakness. Sometimes changing your mind means your mind is alive. At its best, North Node in Gemini becomes bright, adaptable, observant, and wonderfully connective. This is the person who learns how to translate wisdom into language people can use. They can take big truths and make them human. They can bridge worlds, explain ideas clearly, and help others feel less alone through honest conversation. The growth here is not about becoming shallow. It is about becoming reachable. So if you have North Node in Gemini, your path opens when you choose curiosity over certainty, dialogue over preaching, and learning over assuming you already know. You are not here to abandon your vision. You are here to make it more flexible, more useful, and more connected to real life. The more you listen, ask, write, speak, study, and allow yourself to be changed by new information, the more aligned you become with the direction your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand North Node in Gemini, give the video a like and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Cancer. North Node in Cancer is the path of emotional honesty, tenderness, and inner belonging. This is a soul learning that strength is not only found in control, achievement, discipline, or holding everything together. Sometimes real strength is the ability to feel, to need, to care, and to let the heart have a voice. With the South Node in Capricorn, there may be a deep familiarity with responsibility. This person may have learned early how to be mature, capable, composed, or self-reliant. They may know how to work hard, plan ahead, manage pressure, and keep moving even when life feels heavy. But the challenge is that competence can become a hiding place. They may become so used to being the strong one that they forget they are allowed to be human. They may measure their worth through success, productivity, status, or how well they can handle things without asking for help. Feelings may get pushed aside because there is always something practical to do, something to fix, something to prove, or someone depending on them. North Node in Cancer asks them to come back home to themselves, not just to a physical home, but to an emotional one. This placement is learning how to soften without falling apart. It is learning that vulnerability is not weakness, and needing comfort does not make someone less powerful. In fact, for this nodal path, the brave thing may be admitting, I'm tired, I'm hurt, I need support, or I do not want to carry this alone anymore. South Node in Capricorn can bring incredible gifts: ambition, endurance, wisdom, patience, and the ability to build something meaningful over time. But when overused, it can become emotionally dry. The person may stay in survival mode, always climbing, always managing, always preparing for the next responsibility, while their inner life quietly waits to be noticed. Cancer says, your heart matters too. Your feelings are not an inconvenience. Your softness is not something to apologize for. This nodal path often brings lessons through family, home, emotional safety, caregiving, ancestry, motherhood, childhood patterns, or the private life behind the public image. The person may need to heal the belief that love must be earned through performance. They may also have to stop treating rest as something they are only allowed to have after everything else is done. For North Node in Cancer, emotional awareness becomes a turning point. Instead of asking, what should I accomplish? The deeper question becomes, what do I actually feel? Instead of only building a life that looks respectable from the outside, this person is learning to create one that feels safe on the inside. There may be discomfort around dependency. They may fear being needy, messy, sentimental, or too sensitive. But the soul is not asking them to become helpless. It is asking them to become more emotionally available to themselves and to the people they love. This placement grows when it allows care to move both ways. Not just giving care because it is a duty, not just protecting others while staying hidden behind a wall, but receiving warmth, letting people in, and allowing intimacy to exist without turning every tender moment into a task. When North Node in Cancer is lived unconsciously, the person may become overly focused on career, control, reputation, or external success. They may seem strong, but privately feel lonely or emotionally starved. They may keep choosing what is impressive instead of what is nourishing. But as this placement awakens, life becomes more heartfelt. The person starts making choices based on emotional truth, not just obligation. They begin to honor their moods, their needs, their memories, their body, and the quiet signals that say, this feels safe, or this does not feel like home. At its highest expression, North Node in Cancer is protective without being controlling, caring without being self-sacrificing, emotionally open without losing strength, and deeply rooted without becoming afraid of the world. This is the soul learning that success means very little if the inner life is empty. So if you have North Node in Cancer, your growth comes from choosing tenderness over armor, emotional honesty over performance, and belonging over constant achievement. You are not here to abandon ambition. You are here to give it a heart. The more you honor your feelings, your need for safety, your private life, your family patterns, and your right to be cared for, the more aligned you become with the path your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand North Node in Cancer, like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Leo. North Node in Leo is about learning to be seen without apologizing for it. With the South Node in Aquarius, there may be a strong instinct to observe life from a distance. This person may be thoughtful, intelligent, independent, and very aware of groups, systems, communities, and social patterns. They may naturally understand what makes people different, what makes them belong, and what keeps them on the outside. But the challenge is that distance can become protection. They may hide behind objectivity, humor, detachment, or the role of the different one. They may be more comfortable being part of a group than standing in the center of their own life. Sometimes they can support everyone else's uniqueness while quietly avoiding their own spotlight. North Node in Leo asks for warmth, courage, and personal expression. Not attention for the sake of attention, not ego for the sake of ego, but the honest willingness to let the heart speak. Leo is not just performance, it is life force. It is the part of us that creates, loves, plays, risks, and says, "This is mine. This came from me." For this placement, that can feel strangely vulnerable. It may feel safer to stay cool, intellectual, or slightly removed. If you never fully reveal what you love, no one can reject it. If you never claim your talent, no one can judge it. If you stay in the audience, you do not have to risk what happens on stage. But the soul does not grow here by disappearing into the crowd. It grows by participating with heart. South Node in Aquarius can bring powerful gifts: originality, vision, intelligence, social awareness, and the ability to think beyond the personal. These people may care deeply about humanity, justice, friendship, progress, or collective change. But when this energy is overused, the person may become disconnected from their own desires. They may know what the group needs, what the future needs, what the cause needs, but not what makes them feel alive. Leo says, your joy matters too. Your creativity matters. Your personal story matters. This nodal path often brings lessons around confidence, visibility, romance, children, art, leadership, performance, and the courage to take up emotional space. The person may be asked to stop waiting for permission from the group and start trusting the fire inside their own chest. There can be a fear of seeming dramatic, selfish, or too proud. But healthy Leo is not about arrogance. It is about presence. It is the ability to stand in your own light without needing to dim someone else's. North Node in Leo also asks for a stronger relationship with play. Not everything has to be useful, revolutionary, intellectual, or socially approved. Sometimes the thing that brings joy is the thing that brings the person back to themselves. Sing because you want to sing. Create the thing because it excites you. Wear the color. Share the story. Let yourself enjoy being alive without turning every spark into a theory. When this placement is unconscious, the person may hide behind friends, communities, online spaces, ideals, or the identity of being detached and different. They may avoid personal risk by pretending not to care. They may tell themselves they do not want recognition, when deep down they are afraid of what visibility might demand. But as North Node in Leo awakens, something becomes brighter and more direct. The person begins to lead from the heart instead of only from the mind. They stop treating their creativity like an embarrassing secret. They become more generous with their warmth, more honest about their desires, and more willing to let life feel personal. At its highest expression, North Node in Leo is radiant without being shallow, confident without being cruel, expressive without being performative, and loving without needing applause for every gesture. This is the soul learning that it is safe to have a center. So if you have North Node in Leo, your growth comes from choosing self-expression over detachment, joy over emotional distance, and courage over hiding in the background. You are not here to abandon your uniqueness or your care for the collective. You are here to bring your whole heart into the room. The more you honor your creativity, your passion, your confidence, and your right to be seen, the more aligned you become with the life your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this gave you clarity on North Node in Leo, give the video a like and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Virgo. North Node in Virgo is the path of discernment, devotion, and practical healing. With the South Node in Pisces, there may be a deep sensitivity to life. This person may be naturally compassionate, imaginative, spiritual, intuitive, and emotionally porous. They can sense what others are feeling, absorb the atmosphere around them, and understand things that are never spoken out loud. But the challenge is that sensitivity can become overwhelmed. They may drift when life asks for structure. They may avoid details because details feel too sharp, too ordinary, or too stressful. They may escape into fantasy, confusion, spirituality, daydreaming, or emotional chaos when what they really need is a plan, a routine, or one practical next step. North Node in Virgo asks this soul to come down to earth, not because magic is wrong, not because compassion is weakness, but because inspiration needs a container. This placement is learning that healing does not only happen through surrender. Sometimes healing happens through small, consistent acts of care. Making the appointment, cleaning the space, writing the list, creating the schedule, taking the body seriously, doing the work one step at a time instead of waiting for life to magically organize itself. South Node in Pisces can bring beautiful gifts: empathy, imagination, forgiveness, spiritual awareness, and the ability to see beyond the surface. But when this energy is overused, the person may lose boundaries, avoid responsibility, or become tangled in other people's pain. They may feel everything so deeply that they struggle to know what is actually theirs to fix. Virgo teaches discrimination. That means learning what is useful and what is draining, what is real and what is imagined, what needs compassion and what needs correction, what can be helped and what is simply not theirs to carry. For North Node in Virgo, clarity is medicine. This person grows when they stop floating through uncertainty and begin working with what is directly in front of them. The task does not have to be dramatic. In fact, Virgo often heals through the humble, ordinary, repeatable things that make life function better. There can be a lesson here around service. South Node in Pisces may sacrifice endlessly, sometimes without noticing the cost. Virgo service is different. It is not martyrdom. It is not rescuing everyone. It is thoughtful, grounded, skillful support. It knows that being helpful requires boundaries, accuracy, and honesty. This placement may need to stop confusing love with saving people. They are not here to disappear into someone else's suffering. They are here to become capable, useful, and precise with their energy. The body is especially important with North Node in Virgo. The nervous system, health habits, food, sleep, movement, and daily environment all become part of the soul's growth. When life feels too big, the answer may not be another spiritual explanation. It may be water, rest, a clean room, a clear plan, and doing the next right thing. When unconscious, this placement may avoid practical reality until problems become bigger than they needed to be. They may feel victimized by disorder, stuck in confusion, or dependent on signs from the universe before taking action. They may want to help everyone, but end up scattered, exhausted, and ineffective. But as North Node in Virgo awakens, life becomes cleaner. The person starts trusting the power of small improvements. They become less afraid of effort, less seduced by chaos, and more able to turn compassion into something tangible. Their sensitivity becomes stronger because it has boundaries. Their intuition becomes more reliable because it is supported by observation. At its highest expression, North Node in Virgo is wise without being vague, helpful without being self-sacrificing, practical without being cold, and humble without shrinking. This is the soul learning that devotion is not only a feeling, it is a practice. So if you have North Node in Virgo, your growth comes from choosing clarity over confusion, discipline over drifting, and grounded service over emotional rescue. You are not here to lose your softness. You are here to make it useful. The more you honor your routines, your health, your craft, your boundaries, and your ability to improve life through simple daily choices, the more aligned you become with the path your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand North Node in Virgo, like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Libra. North Node in Libra is the path of relationship, balance, and conscious connection. With the South Node in Aries, there may be a strong instinct to handle life alone. This person may be independent, direct, fast-moving, and used to relying on their own courage. They can be brave, self-starting, and willing to take action when others hesitate. But the challenge is that independence can become isolation. They may be so used to fighting their own battles that they forget how to let someone meet them halfway. They may move quickly, decide quickly, react quickly, and only later realize they did not actually consider how their choices affected the people around them. South Node in Aries can create a strong, I'll do it myself reflex. Sometimes that comes from confidence. Sometimes it comes from fear. Because if you never slow down enough to cooperate, compromise, or truly listen, you never have to risk meeting anyone. You never have to sit in the discomfort of another person's perspective. You never have to admit that partnership might require patience instead of pure instinct. North Node in Libra asks this soul to learn the art of we. Not dependency, not people-pleasing, not losing the self inside another person, but real partnership, the kind that requires respect, awareness, timing, fairness, and emotional maturity. For this placement, growth comes through learning how to pause before reacting. Instead of charging forward on impulse, Libra invites reflection. What is the other person feeling? What does the situation need? Is there a way to be honest without turning everything into a battle? This does not mean the person has to become passive. Libra is often misunderstood as weak, but true Libra is not afraid of truth. It simply understands that truth can be delivered with grace. It knows that being right is not always the same as being wise, and winning the argument can still leave the relationship damaged. There may be important lessons around conflict. With South Node in Aries, the person may be quick to defend, quick to leave, or quick to assume they are better off alone. They may feel frustrated when others move slowly, ask for discussion, or need emotional reassurance. But North Node in Libra teaches that not every delay is an obstacle. Sometimes the pause is where understanding enters. This placement may need to learn how to listen without preparing a comeback, how to disagree without attacking, how to ask what someone else needs without feeling controlled, and how to let another person's presence soften the sharp edges without taking away their strength. The South Node in Aries still brings powerful gifts. Courage, initiative, honesty, passion, and the ability to act under pressure are valuable. The problem begins when every situation becomes a solo mission, or every disagreement becomes a test of dominance. The Libra path says, keep your bravery, but let it become relational. Keep your fire, but learn how to hold it with elegance. When this placement is unconscious, the person may push people away before they get too close. They may act first and repair later. They may confuse compromise with weakness, or assume that considering someone else means surrendering their own power. But as North Node in Libra awakens, life becomes more graceful. The person begins to understand the strength of cooperation. They become more thoughtful in love, more diplomatic in conflict, and more aware of how beautiful life can be when it is not lived entirely on defense. Relationships become teachers here. Romantic relationships, friendships, business partnerships, and even difficult one-on-one dynamics. Other people become mirrors, showing where the person is too guarded, too impatient, too reactive, or too focused on their own immediate desire. At its highest expression, North Node in Libra is peaceful without being fake, loving without being dependent, fair without being indecisive, and graceful without losing courage. This is the soul learning that connection is not a trap. It is a skill. So if you have North Node in Libra, your growth comes from choosing cooperation over constant self-protection, listening over reacting, and balance over doing everything alone. You are not here to lose your independence. You are here to share your life with more awareness. The more you honor fairness, partnership, beauty, patience, and the power of meeting others with an open heart, the more aligned you become with the path your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, you can book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this brought clarity to your North Node in Libra, please like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Scorpio. North Node in Scorpio is where life asks a person to stop living only at the surface. This is not a light placement, but it is a powerful one. It pulls the soul toward truth, emotional depth, intimacy, transformation, and the kind of honesty that changes a person from the inside out. because with the South Node in Taurus, there may be a strong instinct to stay with what is familiar. This person may know how to maintain comfort, hold steady, protect their peace, and keep life simple. They may value loyalty, security, pleasure, money, routine, and anything that gives them a sense of control over the physical world. And there is wisdom in that. South Node in Taurus can bring patience, endurance, sensuality, practicality, and a real ability to survive by staying grounded. But the shadow is attachment. The person may hold on too long to people, habits, possessions, relationships, identities, or versions of life that no longer have any real pulse left in them. They may say it's fine when it is not fine. They may choose comfort over truth. They may stay loyal to something simply because changing it would disturb the ground beneath their feet. But North Node in Scorpio does not let life stay too tidy forever. This placement often brings moments where the old safety plan stops working. Something hidden comes up. A relationship exposes a deeper fear. A loss forces a new level of strength. A desire becomes too strong to ignore. A situation that once felt stable begins to feel emotionally dead. And that is where the Scorpio lesson begins. The soul is learning that real security does not come from controlling everything. It comes from being able to face change without losing yourself. For this placement, growth often requires emotional bravery, not dramatic intensity for its own sake, and not chasing chaos just to feel alive. This is about having the courage to look directly at what is uncomfortable: jealousy, fear, grief, obsession, dependency, betrayal, desire, shame, power, and vulnerability. Scorpio does not ask for polite answers. It asks for the truth underneath the answer. That can be challenging for someone with South Node in Taurus, because Taurus would rather keep life calm and manageable. Scorpio knows that sometimes calm is real, and sometimes calm is just avoidance with good lighting. There may be a pattern of resisting change until change becomes unavoidable. The person may stay in a relationship because it is familiar, not because it is honest. They may cling to financial safety while ignoring emotional hunger. They may avoid difficult conversations because they do not want to disturb the peace, even when the silence is slowly becoming the problem. North Node in Scorpio teaches that some things have to be confronted before they can be healed. This placement is also deeply connected to trust. Not the easy kind of trust that exists when everything is predictable, but the harder kind, the kind that develops when a person allows themselves to be truly known. That means letting someone see more than the calm exterior, the fear, the longing, the need, the intensity, the parts that cannot be managed into looking pretty. For North Node in Scorpio, intimacy is not just closeness. It is emotional exposure. It is the willingness to stop controlling the image and start revealing the truth. There can also be major lessons around shared resources, sexuality, death, inheritance, energetic bonds, psychological healing, and power dynamics. This person may have to learn where they give power away, where they grip too tightly, and where they confuse control with safety. The Taurus South Node wants to keep what it has. The Scorpio North Node asks whether what they are keeping is actually keeping them alive. That question can change everything, because the higher Scorpio path is not about destruction. It is about renewal. It is the compost of the zodiac, the place where what has died becomes material for something stronger, wiser, and more honest. This person is not here to live numb, comfortable, and untouched. They are here to become emotionally awake. As they grow, they may become less afraid of intensity and more selective about where they place their energy. They stop wasting their depth on situations that only drain them. They become more honest about what they want, what they fear, and what they are no longer willing to pretend. Their life may become less predictable, but more alive. Their relationships may become fewer, but more real. Their peace may become less fragile because it is no longer built on denial. At its highest expression, North Node in Scorpio is passionate, perceptive, brave, and deeply transformative. It can face the dark without becoming consumed by it. It can love deeply without needing to possess. It can release what is dead without believing that every ending is a failure. So if you have North Node in Scorpio, your growth comes from choosing truth over comfort, depth over numbness, and transformation over staying the same, just because the same is familiar. You are not here to reject peace. You are here to find the kind of peace that can survive honesty. The more you allow yourself to face what is real, release what is lifeless, and trust your ability to move through change, the more aligned you become with the life your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, please book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand North Node in Scorpio, please like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Sagittarius. North Node in Sagittarius is the soul learning to trust its own truth. With the South Node in Gemini, there may be a quick mind, a restless curiosity, and a natural ability to gather information from everywhere. This person may know how to ask questions, make connections, read the room, adapt their language, and keep many options open at once. They may be clever, observant, funny, and mentally flexible. They may also be very good at seeing every side of a situation. But after a while, every side can become a maze. The challenge with South Node in Gemini is that the person may collect so many opinions, facts, theories, messages, and possibilities that they lose touch with what they actually believe. Their mind may stay busy, but their spirit feels scattered. They may know a little about many things, but still feel unsure about the bigger direction of their life. North Node in Sagittarius asks for a wider vision. This placement is not about rejecting curiosity. It is about letting curiosity become wisdom. Sagittarius wants meaning. It wants a horizon. It wants the person to stop living only from the nervous system of the moment and start asking, what is true for me? What do I stand for? What kind of life feels honest, expansive, and real? For this nodal path, growth often comes through faith, not blind faith, and not pretending to know everything. This is the faith that develops when a person stops needing 10 different confirmations before trusting the quiet conviction inside them. South Node in Gemini may be used to checking, comparing, asking, researching, scrolling, discussing, and changing direction every time new information appears. But North Node in Sagittarius teaches that at some point, the person has to choose a path and walk it. Not every decision can be solved by more information. Sometimes the answer comes from experience. Sometimes the body knows before the mind has finished building the spreadsheet. And sometimes truth is not the loudest opinion in the room. It is the thing that still feels alive after all the noise fades. This placement may bring lessons through travel, education, teaching, publishing, spirituality, philosophy, law, culture, or experiences that push the person beyond familiar surroundings. The soul grows when life becomes bigger than the local conversation. There can also be a lesson around honesty. South Node in Gemini can be skilled with words, but sometimes too skilled. The person may explain, soften, edit, or adjust the truth depending on who is listening. They may avoid taking a firm position because they can understand why everyone thinks what they think. Sagittarius asks for cleaner speech. Say what you mean. Let your words have a backbone. Do not use cleverness to dodge conviction. This does not mean becoming blunt, arrogant, or preachy. The higher Sagittarius path is not about turning every belief into a sermon. It is about living with integrity. It is about allowing the truth to shape your choices, not just your conversations. When unconscious, this placement may stay mentally busy, but spiritually undecided. The person may jump from idea to idea, overthink simple decisions, or rely too heavily on other people's interpretations. They may fear being wrong so much that they never fully commit to what feels right. But as North Node in Sagittarius awakens, something steadier begins to form. The person starts trusting direct experience. They become less dependent on constant feedback and more willing to follow the road that calls them. Their mind is still curious, but it begins to serve a larger purpose. At its best, North Node in Sagittarius is wise without being rigid, honest without being cruel, adventurous without being careless, and free without being lost. This is the soul learning that life is not only something to analyze, it is something to enter. So if you have North Node in Sagittarius, your growth comes from choosing truth over mental noise, experience over endless discussion, and faith over constant second guessing. Your curiosity is still a gift, but it needs a direction. The more you trust your inner compass, speak honestly, explore beyond the familiar, and allow life to teach you through experience, the more aligned you become with the path your North Node is guiding you toward. For a more personal understanding of your own North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, please book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you, please like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Capricorn. North Node in Capricorn is the path of maturity, self-respect, and building a life that can stand on its own. With the South Node in Cancer, there may be a deep attachment to emotional safety. This person may be caring, protective, intuitive, and strongly shaped by family, memory, belonging, or the need to feel secure before moving forward. But the comfort zone can become emotional dependency. They may stay too connected to the past, too influenced by guilt, or too afraid of disappointing people. Sometimes they may wait for life to feel safe before making adult decisions. They may want reassurance before taking risks, or retreat into familiar situations when the outside world feels too demanding. The Capricorn path asks this soul to grow a backbone, not in a cold way, not by shutting down the heart, but by learning how to become steady, capable, and responsible for the direction of their own life. This placement teaches that emotional comfort cannot be the only compass. Sometimes the right choice feels uncomfortable because it requires discipline. Sometimes growth means leaving the familiar nest. Sometimes becoming who you are meant to be means accepting that not everyone will understand your decisions. The South Node in Cancer can bring beautiful gifts: empathy, memory, emotional intelligence, devotion, and the ability to nurture others. But when overused, it can keep the person in a childlike relationship with life. They may avoid pressure, overprotect themselves, or make choices based on who might feel hurt rather than what is truly necessary. Capricorn teaches self-command. It asks the person to stop letting moods, fears, or old family stories make every major decision. It asks for structure, goals, competence, boundaries, and the patience to build something real over time. Ambition is not a dirty word here. Ambition simply means respecting your own potential enough to do something with it. This life direction may bring lessons through career, authority, reputation, leadership, long-term planning, or situations where the person has to become the one in charge. They may have to learn how to handle pressure without collapsing into emotional overwhelm or running back to what feels safe. There is also a major lesson around family and caretaking. This person may feel responsible for everyone's feelings. They may become the emotional caretaker, the peacekeeper, or the one who always understands. But growth requires a cleaner line between compassion and over-involvement. You can love people without managing their every reaction. You can care about your roots without letting them decide your future. You can be sensitive and still have standards. When unconscious, this placement may avoid responsibility while secretly craving recognition. The person may want success, but fear the exposure that comes with it. They may want independence, but feel guilty for separating. They may dream about a stronger life, but keep choosing emotional familiarity over adult commitment. But as this energy matures, the person becomes more solid. They begin to trust what can be built through time, effort, and consistency. Their confidence no longer depends only on being loved or needed. They start making decisions from integrity instead of emotional pressure. At its highest expression, this placement is wise, grounded, self-possessed, and quietly powerful. It does not abandon softness, but it gives that softness a structure strong enough to protect it. This is the soul learning that security is not only something other people give. It is something created through self-respect. So if you have this placement, your growth comes from choosing discipline over emotional retreat, responsibility over fear, and self-mastery over staying small for the comfort of others. You are not here to reject your sensitivity. You are here to become strong enough to guide it. The more you honor your goals, boundaries, maturity, and right to build a life on your own terms, the more aligned you become with the path your chart is pointing toward. For a more personal understanding of your North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, please book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand this placement, please like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Aquarius. North Node in Aquarius is the path of authenticity, vision, and belonging without performance. With the South Node in Leo, there may be a strong instinct to seek recognition, personal validation, or a special role in the room. This person may be creative, passionate, expressive, warm, and naturally aware of how they are being received by others. They may know how to shine, but the comfort zone can become too attached to being admired. There may be a habit of measuring worth through attention, applause, romance, praise, or feeling chosen. The person may want to be seen as unique, important, talented, or unforgettable, and there is nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated. The problem begins when the need to be special becomes louder than the need to be real. The Aquarius path asks for a different kind of confidence, not the confidence that comes from being center stage. The confidence that comes from being true to yourself even when nobody is clapping. This placement is learning how to step beyond personal drama and see the bigger picture. Life may ask the person to loosen the grip on ego, pride, or the need to be personally validated, and instead become more connected to community, friendship, shared ideals, and collective progress. South Node in Leo can bring beautiful gifts, creativity, heart, generosity, courage, and the ability to inspire others. But when overused, it can become overly focused on personal importance. The person may turn everything into a reflection of whether they are loved, respected, desired, or appreciated enough. Aquarius teaches emotional objectivity. It asks the person to pause and ask, is this really about me? Or is there something larger happening here? That question can be freeing. This does not mean becoming cold, detached, or uninterested in love. It means learning not to make every situation revolve around personal approval. Sometimes the soul grows by stepping out of the spotlight and contributing to something bigger than itself. This life direction often brings lessons through friendships, groups, communities, networks, social causes, technology, innovation, astrology, science, activism, or spaces where people gather around shared ideas. The person may be drawn toward unconventional people, unusual paths, or futures that do not fit the old script. And that is part of the medicine. Aquarius does not ask, how do I impress everyone? It asks, what future am I helping to create? There may be a lesson around being different without needing to make that difference theatrical. This person is learning that authenticity does not always need an audience. Sometimes the most powerful thing is simply living in a way that is honest, original, and free from constant approval seeking. When unconscious, this placement may get caught in pride, romantic drama, creative insecurity, or the need to feel personally celebrated. They may resist being one voice among many because it feels like losing importance. They may also struggle when attention moves elsewhere, as if love has disappeared just because the spotlight has shifted. But as this energy matures, the person becomes less dependent on applause and more devoted to truth. They begin to value friendship as much as romance, collaboration as much as performance, and contribution as much as recognition. Their creativity becomes less about proving they are special and more about offering something useful, original, or awakening to others. At its highest expression, this placement is visionary, inventive, generous, and refreshingly real. It can still shine, but it shines differently, not by demanding the center, but by becoming a clear channel for ideas, progress, and collective possibility. This is the soul learning that being part of something does not make you less individual. It can make your individuality more meaningful. So if you have this placement, your growth comes from choosing authenticity over applause, community over personal drama, and future vision over the need to be constantly validated. You are not here to lose your heart. You are here to share it with a wider world. The more you honor your originality, your friendships, your ideals, and your courage to live outside the expected script, the more aligned you become with the path your chart is pointing toward. For a more personal understanding of your North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, please book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand this placement, please like this video and subscribe for more astrology content. North Node in Pisces. North Node in Pisces is the path of surrender, compassion, imagination, and spiritual trust. This is a soul learning that life cannot always be controlled, perfected, organized, or solved through logic alone. With the South Node in Virgo, there may be a strong instinct to analyze everything. This person may be practical, observant, responsible, and very aware of what needs fixing. They may notice the details others miss. They may know how to improve things, serve others, solve problems, and keep life functioning. But the comfort zone can become over control. They may put constant pressure on themselves to get everything right. They may worry about mistakes, health, work, routines, timing, details, or whether they are doing enough. Even when life is going well, the mind may search for what is wrong, what could go wrong, or what still needs to be corrected. The Pisces path asks this soul to loosen its grip, not to become careless, not to abandon responsibility, but to learn that peace does not come from managing every detail perfectly. Sometimes the healing comes from letting life breathe. South Node in Virgo can bring beautiful gifts, discernment, humility, intelligence, dedication, and the ability to be genuinely useful. But when overused, it can become anxiety, criticism, perfectionism, or the feeling that love has to be earned through being helpful, efficient, or flawless. Pisces teaches a softer kind of wisdom. It reminds this person that they are more than their productivity, more than their mistakes, more than the checklist, more than the role they play for everyone else. There is a major lesson here around faith. For this nodal path, faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means learning to trust something beyond constant mental control. It means allowing intuition, creativity, rest, prayer, music, art, dreams, and emotional release to become part of the healing process. The person may need to stop treating uncertainty like failure. Not everything needs an immediate explanation. Not every feeling needs to be dissected. Not every problem becomes clearer by staring at it harder. Sometimes the next step appears only after the mind finally gets quiet. This life direction may bring lessons through spirituality, creativity, compassion, forgiveness, solitude, grief, imagination, mysticism, or experiences that dissolve the illusion of total control. The soul is learning how to live with more openness and less fear of the unknown. There can also be a lesson around self-criticism. South Node in Virgo may be very hard on itself. The person may replay conversations, judge their performance, compare their progress, or feel guilty for resting. They may become so focused on improving that they forget how to simply exist. Pisces says, you are allowed to be human. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to be loved before every part of your life is fixed. When unconscious, this person may become trapped in worry, routines, overthinking, or endless problem solving. They may try to control emotions through busyness, or avoid deeper surrender by staying focused on practical tasks. They may help everyone else while secretly feeling exhausted, unseen, or spiritually dry. But as this energy matures, life becomes more spacious. The person begins to trust flow without losing common sense. They become more compassionate with themselves and others. Their intuition strengthens. Their creativity opens. They learn that softness can be just as powerful as discipline. At its highest expression, North Node in Pisces is compassionate without being lost, spiritual without escaping reality, imaginative without becoming ungrounded, and forgiving without abandoning discernment. This is the soul learning that not every answer comes through effort. Some answers arrive through trust. So if you have this placement, your growth comes from choosing surrender over perfectionism, compassion over criticism, and faith over constant control. You are not here to lose your intelligence. You are here to let it serve something larger than fear. The more you honor your intuition, creativity, emotional sensitivity, spiritual life, and need for rest, the more aligned you become with the path your chart is pointing toward. For a more personal understanding of your North Node, South Node, and full birth chart, please book a consultation for a deeper look at your astrology. And if this helped you understand this placement, please like this video and subscribe for more astrology content.